Behind me is a hotel that, for some bizarre reason, doubles as an official crossing of the Thames in London. Well, until next month, that is. My name is Evan Edinger, and I'm currently in Surrey Quays, a small suburban part of London that most tourists probably aren't even aware of. It's a very unassuming part of South London that I used to live in many moons ago when I was trying to get on the old property ladder. But for the last 20 years, it has also been the home to one of the weirdest crossings of the River Thames in all of the city. Though, by next month, this weird element will be removed, but that's actually a good thing. Let me explain. Walking along this street, I don't think many people would find anything out of the ordinary. You've got a nice park, you've got a pub, you've got a standard hotel. It's just that behind this hotel hides a ferry that takes you across the river. This is a crossing you kind of have to know about because in terms of the signage around here, well, there's literally no signs on that side of the road, like attached to the DoubleTree at all. The only clue that a pedestrian might have that there's a ferry to take them across the river that's official within TfL's network is a small sign saying fast ferry across the road at 4 meters height. And if I saw this for the first time and I wasn't aware of this, I would assume maybe it's an outdated sign because the arrow is actually pointing to a hotel. So how on earth did a city-approved ferry service end up hidden in a hotel lobby? Well, this building used to be a 17th century wharf in the London Docklands. When it was converted into a hotel decades ago, the owners set up a private ferry to shuttle guests over to Canary Wharf. Local authorities realized, well, the public needed a crossing here too, so TfL eventually struck a deal to let anyone tap in and use the ferry. And that's why even today you have to march through what is essentially private hotel property in order to access public transport infrastructure. First, you have to walk up this ramp here and then go through the hotel lobby, where a door exiting the building will take you to a ramp down to the dock to the ferry, which will take you across the river to Canary Wharf for a hefty fee, of course. That'll be £4.10 each way, unless you're staying at the hotel. Well, then it's free. What a bargain. But as weird as it is to integrate a hotel lobby into the official Transport for London network that you can use your Oyster card or contactless to pay into, its time has officially come to a close. You see, it's just reached its 20-year span of how long the dock should have lasted, and so the city was like, why don't we build an electric ferry? Electric ferry, that's what we need. As we speak, builders have been hard at work the last few weeks constructing a new pier to maintain the service from the Canary Wharf side, and soon a new pier will appear on the Surrey Quays side as well. This one will actually be on the Thames path as opposed to requiring people walk through a hotel. Though, to be fair, I just had the hotel manager inform me that there is a way for pedestrians to access this pier without going through the hotel lobby.
You can access it from the Thames path already.
Oh, thank you very much for that information. I'm gonna have to put that in immediately. It's along the outside of the hotel, but they've allowed pedestrians to walk through as a service because it's quicker, which that's actually quite nice. Big up, DoubleTree. Either way, after these docks are complete and the new electric ferry is up and running, this bizarre crossing that has semi-served these two areas of London for the past 2 decades will become another weird chapter in London's history as the dock out back to DoubleTree right here is going to be demolished. And rightfully so, it's beyond its lifespan. Looks a bit shoddy. In its stead, a brand new electric ferry service is being introduced. The all-electric ferry is currently being constructed in the Isle of Wight, which is kind of nice. It's keeping it within Britain. It's actually near completion. If they keep to their promoted time schedules, we should be having 2 brand new docks and an all-electric ferry and the service by March 2025, which seems soon. Here comes the ferry. The current ferry that just pulled in behind me crosses the Thames about 90 times a day, give or take, so I suppose it is a positive that the city is investing in a brand new all-electric ferry that will inevitably cut down emissions greatly, but there are a few problems here. This just kind of reminds me of that famous quote often attributed to Henry Ford: "If I had asked the people what they wanted, they would have asked for faster horses." So I'm sure the idea of an electric ferry is better than, I don't know, the standard diesel one, but if you'd actually asked the people what they wanted, they would have just said, you know, a little bridge would be nice. Nothing fancy, just a standard footbridge, you know, a simple footbridge. No frills, no exhaust, no fancy electrics. Just a way to use my feet to cross the river, you know? Like they have in the west of the city, at least. They got so many bridges out West London. In East London, God dang vote. I just want a bridge, man. I will say taking the ferry across the river is actually really scenic and pretty, sure. I'll give you that. But I still want a bridge. But here's the catch. You might be wondering, it's 2025. Why isn't there a shiny new bridge here? Great question. Well, if you ask that to the Mayor of London, he'd like you to believe it's because of money and logistics. We just don't have the budget for it. We don't have the money, it's too expensive, our hands are tied. The truth is, there was actually meant to be a bridge here. In questions with the Mayor of London in 2016, Mayor Sadiq Khan said, "I made a commitment, as you are aware, in my manifesto to deliver the major infrastructure that London needs for the long term, including new river crossings for East London. These crossings should benefit and regenerate the communities that need it most. They should include cycling, walking, and public transport options, and help to break down the physical barriers that can alienate parts of the city. The bridge will relieve pressure on the Jubilee line at Canada Water and will offer a huge boost for new jobs and homes while promoting greener and safer ways of crossing the Thames on foot and by bike." End quote. Wow, that's quite a nice quote that came out of the Mayor of London 9 years ago. So, how's that been going? This sounds like a great plan in theory, but here we are 9 years later, and you can see how that went. I'd say it actually went significantly worse than expected. Not only did Sadiq Khan's team backtrack on this pledge heavily, case in point, this new electric ferry, which sounds great for PR. In fact, the BBC is already grinding out the articles to make this seem like a big British green win, when it's not. Oh, look at us, we're so green. But Sadiq and his team did do a great job of bigging up the big PR for all this. It's just that all of his words on this are, well, completely full of shit. Yet these new crossings should, and I quote, include cycling, walking, and public transport options. Ah, that does sound nice. What have we got instead? Well, the pedestrian and cycling bridge that was supposed to be here? Ah, too expensive. We'll just replace with a ferry. What about repairing the always damaged Greenwich Foot Tunnel? Oh, it's too expensive as well. What about near West India Quay? Any sort of crossing there? Ooh, no, we'll just keep using a ferry. All right, well, what about a crossing to North Greenwich from, say, where I am right now? Oh, they did have a budget for that. The Silvertown Tunnel is opening up next month, and it's only for cars. No pedestrians allowed. And the icing on the cake, people traveling by bike are expected to load up their bikes into a little shuttle that will take them across every once in a while. Wow. That's a mayor that really puts pedestrian, cycling, and public transport first. So we have this mayor spouting, "I'm here to break down the walls between Londoners, and I'm gonna help promote pedestrian and cycling and public transport infrastructure." And then he just goes and gives the okay for more car infrastructure. It's just weird because this is a mayor whose platform seems to be to benefit the everyday Londoner, and yet the placement of the Silvertown Tunnel seems to disproportionately benefit those who happen to work in this area. Like, I don't know, say people that work in this building behind me. Which is, oh, all right, that's City Hall. Oh, that's so convenient. You know, if you just happen to be, I don't know, like a mayor of London, you could maybe shave some time off your commute. Oh, that's so convenient. I'm so glad he helped out himself. Great. I guess he doesn't like the cable car either. He has this as an option. Not even the mayor wants to take it. You see, the estimated cost of following through on his promises of building one small bridge at this location to break down the physical barriers that can alienate a city was around 100 to 200 million pounds. Ooh, yikes. You know, you might be on his side now. That's a lot of money. London could probably spend better elsewhere. London just couldn't budget for this bridge. That's fair enough. Instead, they spent over £2 billion on a tunnel mainly accessible by cars, with the whole pedestrian and cycle aspect being tacked on at the end as if it was even thought about in the first place. Oh, but no, Mr. Sadiq Khan, he's gonna make sure he's promoting pedestrian and cycling and public transport infrastructure. Fuck off. The £2 billion Silvertown Tunnel aims to be opening in the next month or two, and you can bet I'm going to be one of the first ones to take that embarrassing cycle shuttle they've introduced to go across the river, especially because, ooh, lucky us, the first year of the shuttle will be free to use. And then, as a way to better break down those physical barriers between Londoners, they will inevitably just charge people taking a greater mode of transport to take them across the river. What an absolute shyster. In the meantime, the only crossings available for people living near this part of London are either an assortment of costly ferries like the Doubletree one, or traveling through the Rotherhithe Tunnel, which is basically like breathing in a pack of cigarettes by the end of the walk. It's truly awful. This is what the Mayor of London thinks the people of East London deserve. a little bit of pavement alongside a car exhaust-filled tunnel that leaves one feeling like they've smoked an entire pack of cigarettes by the time they escape. Well, at least it's better than the offering that's coming soon, where we don't even get the privilege of breathing in these fumes, as the Silvertown Tunnel won't even have any pedestrian access at all. I am fuming. Also, this is disgusting. I literally feel sick just being so close to the tunnel, and they expect us to have to walk or cycle through this. That's the only option. I'm fuming. Or at least you've got the Greenwich Foot Tunnel, whose lifts regularly break down 3 days a week, leaving users traveling by bike to have to carry their bikes up and down the many stairs anytime they want to cross the river. And things are obviously worse for users in wheelchairs. Interestingly, the Greenwich Foot Tunnel was built in 1902, and yet it's still, a century later, a more convenient way of crossing the river than anything the mayor has given us. This is not focusing on pedestrian infrastructure. This is frankly embarrassing to have been greenlit, pun intended, in the nation's capital in 2025, especially by a mayor who's supposed to be not for this. Now, to be fair, there is a case to be made for the ferry solution. Sure, a footbridge might seem ideal and for the greater good and following Sadiq Khan's campaign promises, but the ferry system is already in place, and also because it's integrated into the network and they charge fares, they can generate revenue off of all of us, sure, but that is a better way for them to, I suppose, balance the budget. The bridge is going to be free for everyone, so everyone can just enjoy it. Whereas this one, the city gets to recoup a bit of the cost. I guess there's that. Plus, I mean, there is already the system in place. They've got the ferries, they've got a new one coming in, they've got staff that know how to do it, they're gonna have piers. So like, hypothetically, I guess that makes sense. Sticking to a system that London already has and knows, aka the ferry, is a politically safer move for Sadiq. He doesn't have to worry about buying any land rights and building any sort of construction bridge. This is an easier move for him to do. And hey, if the mayor's office is actually pointing us towards electric ferries, it gives off the impression that they are innovating and they are doing the greener options, despite the fact that they're not. My issue here is that that is completely counter to what Sadiq Khan actually campaigned on. He's all hat, no cattle, and another example of a politician who's happy to appear to be pushing a city forward, when in reality, he's just happy to stick to the status quo. So while this unique hotel crossing is going away in the next month, what's replacing it may grab headlines for being a super green choice, when in reality, it's just the London mayor's latest attempts at greenwashing his fully outdated car-friendly policies while pretending his government is actually focused on green initiatives. Yeah, well, money is green, I guess. You could have built over 10 river crossings for pedestrians and cyclists with the budget of the Silvertown Tunnel, or even just built the Silvertown Tunnel to accommodate pedestrians and cyclists as in the manifesto, but that would just make too much sense. Anyway, the next ferry isn't scheduled to cross the river for another 45 minutes because, unlike a footbridge, ferries need to take breaks at half-day for maintenance, which might cause people like me to miss their optometrist appointments. Is this video just a petty response to that? Yes, it is. Anyway, I've got to go find another way to cross the river in the meantime to tell you about today's video sponsor. Well, yep, turns out I had to go through the Greenwich Foot Tunnel, which of course is a tunnel, which is just how I like my data, to go through an encrypted tunnel using today's video sponsor, NordVPN. NordVPN, if you didn't know, is the fastest VPN out there. It is a virtual private network, meaning all of my data, whenever I visit anonymous websites, whatever I'm doing, actually has to go through a tunnel like this Greenwich Foot Tunnel before it's able to reach the servers. This keeps my data protected away from any prying eyes. And there have been numerous occasions where I've been trying to research things for videos like this, and I can't access the data because it turns out they only allow visitors from certain countries. But with a click of a button, guess what? Thanks to NordVPN, I'm now in your country, give me a data. And if you're like, Evan, just like your bike, I as well am too tired to look up better offers. Well, you don't need a better offer, because if you sign up to nordvpn.com/Evan, you can get a huge discount on a 2-year plan plus a little something. Oh, I'd say it's about 1 kilometer. I can cycle across in about 1.5 minutes. If you go across, there is the Island Gardens. Just giving some advice, yeah. So thanks NordVPN for sponsoring. Let's wrap this up. Dialing it back a bit, I know being the mayor of a massive city like London must be incredibly difficult work, but if every decision you make as mayor goes counter to what you say you believe in, that's what your legacy will be. A man who's got a bridge to sell you, but it won't get you very far. Pun. That's right. Sarcasm, politics, interesting facts, puns. That's what this channel is sometimes. I found this cat. Hello. This is just a random cat.